So the LCD of numbers. LCD is the least common denominator, so you're looking for the biggest number. So if I have 2 and 5, what's the LCD of 2 and 5? 10. What you're looking for is the smallest number that these two will both divide evenly into. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. That comes out evenly. If you have tougher numbers, like say 14 and 18. Somebody pick two hard numbers. 14 and 18, it's hard to just sit there and think about it. So there's a couple different ways you could do it. You could count. 18 times 1 is 14 divided into 18. No. 18 times 2 is 36. Is 14 divided into 36? No. 18 times 3 is 54. Does 14 divided into 54? No. And you just keep counting like that and you keep going. But I got to show you this other way, because if I have 14 and I break it down, it's 2 times 7. 18 would break down to what? 2 and 9. So 2 times 3 times 3, right? Because 9 would break down to 3 and 3. So 2 and 9 would be 3 times 3. All right, so if I break that down, so here's how the LCD works when you're doing rational expressions, a little bit tougher ones. What you're going to do is you write what they share once. So they share the 2, so I'm only going to write it once. So this is coming up with the LCD. They share it once. They share it, so I'm only going to write it once. And then you write everything that's left over. So 2 times 3 times 3 times 7 would be my LCD. So I believe it's 126. Okay, so when we get into the tougher LCDs, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to break it down. We're going to factor it. We're going to write what they share once, and then write everything that's left over. So what I mean by that is, if I had 2 problems and one looked like this, okay, I'm not worrying about the numerator because all we're doing right now is talking about the LCD. So my LCD for this problem right here, they share an x plus 2, and then I write what's left over. I write what they share once, and then I write what's left over. X minus 3 and x minus 5. So that would be the LCD of both of those. So if they share it, you write it once. If they don't, you write it, well, it's left over. All right, what about numbers? Or not numbers, letters. 4x squared and 6x to the 5th. All right, so what's the LCD on my numbers?
12x.
It'd be 12, right? The LCD on my number is 12. And then you're actually just going to take the biggest exponent. You're actually just going to take the biggest exponent as x to the 5th. Because again, what I'm doing here is I'm finding the smallest number that I can divide these into. So if I did 12x to the 5th divided by 4x squared, that comes out even. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and it'd be x cubed. Or if I did 12x to the 5th divided by 6x to the 5th, that'd be what, 2, and the x would cancel out. 5x and 5x would cancel out. So what happens here is if I tried to do, let's say I use the 2 instead. If I'd use the 2, I can take 2 x's from this one, right? But when I go to try to take 5 x's from this one, it doesn't work. Right? So that's why you take the biggest exponent, because I want to be able to take all of them. So LCD of the letters, you just take the biggest exponent. All right, so let's run through these. And again, we're not really using the LCD today. We're just going to introduce it, and then tomorrow I'll go back over it and we'll put it into use. So what is my LCD of this one? What's the LCD of the numbers? 9, right? 3 and 9 would be 9. So, and then you take the biggest exponent. So 9x to the 5th. Let's do this one. 16. All right, so on this one, again, when you're doing LCD, you want to see if you can simplify first. So I can't break down 7x, but can I break down this one right here? I can factor out a 7 and get 7 and x plus 1. So now I have 7x and 7x plus 1. So my LCD is, I'm going to write what they share once. So what do they share? They both have a 7 in it. So I'm going to write it once. And then there's an x left over and an x plus 1. So don't write 7 twice because that's what they share. I mean, the LCD of, like, the reason you only write it once, the LCD of 1/7 and 2/7 is 7. All right, so on this one, 11x plus 2. I don't know what that number was. On this one, I have x plus 2 here and x minus 2 here. They don't share anything. Okay, that's x plus 2 stays together and x minus 2 stays together. So they don't share anything, so it's just x plus 2 and x minus 2.
Back on that one right above that.
Yes.
When you pulled out the 7, and you cancel that other 7 out on the left side, what do you do with that x right next to that?
Well, that's what I'm not really canceling out. I have my denominator here at 7x, my denominator here at 7 times x plus 1. So I only write what they share once.
Okay, right.
So they share 7, so I write it once. I don't write 49. I don't write this.
Oh, because it doesn't share x. You just don't write
They don't
it.
share an x.
Okay.
Yeah. So it goes, I write what they share once, and then I write everything that's left over. The x is left over, and the x plus 1 is left over. Yeah, we do that one. All right, 16x, x plus 1. So again, on one like this, you want to see if you can break something down. So that one can't break down, but this one becomes what, 5x plus 1. So my LCD, they share an x plus 1, and then there's a 5 left over. Squared plus 4x minus 5. All right, so one like this, I'm going to have to break down both of those. So we know when we see the factor, and we can automatically break these down. So it multiplies to be negative 4 and adds up to be, multiplies to be negative 5 and adds up to be 4. What, positive 5, negative 1? And on this one, what multiplies to be negative 4 and adds up to 3? Negative 1 and 4. So now that I've broke both of those down, you can look at your LCD. They share an x minus 1. And then that leaves me with an x plus 4 left over and an x plus 5 left over. So that entire thing right there would be my LCD. All right, so again, that's just kind of introducing the LCD. We'll go back over it tomorrow, and we'll do a bunch of it because the next 3 sections were live on the LCD. So we're gonna make sure we know how to do it. And I believe if I go look at the test, do I still have